Take a look.
The former president of the United States, George H.W. Bush, has apologized after an actress accused him of sexually harassing her while he was in his wheelchair during a photo op that took place a few years ago.
Take a look.
Actress Heather Lind made these allegations against the 93-year-old former president on Instagram in a lengthy post. She said, quote, "When I got the chance to meet George H.W. Bush 4 years ago to promote a historical television show I was working on, he sexually assaulted me while I was posing for a similar photo. He did not shake my hand. He touched me from behind from his wheelchair with his wife Barbara Bush by his side. He told me a dirty joke." End quote. In a statement, the former president apologized, saying, quote, "President Bush would never, under any circumstance, intentionally cause anyone distress, and he most sincerely apologizes if his attempt at humor offended Miss Lind." End quote. Lind, in her deleted Instagram post, said it happened for a second time as well. She concluded her post using the hashtag that has become viral for people to share their allegations of sexual assault.
Take a look.
Am I mad at God? Yeah, I'm mad at him. I wish I had more protection.
Bill O'Reilly is speaking out about his reported $32 million sexual harassment settlement. Now, he denies he did anything wrong, says this is an injustice at the highest level.
Am I mad at God? Yeah, I'm mad at him. I wish I had more protection. I wish this stuff didn't happen. I can't explain it to you. Yeah, I'm mad at him. If I die tomorrow and I get an opportunity, I'll say, why'd you guys work me over like that?
Oh, God.
That's what you're going to say to God, Bill? Why did you work me over?
Mm-hmm.
Am I mad at God? Yeah, I'm mad at him. I wish I had more protection.
Yeah, this is God's fault.
Take a look.
Had enough of it.
That's Bill O'Reilly exploding on live morning TV. He says it's open season on the Fox network and he's fed up.
It's a good place to work, all right? We do good work. We do honest work there.
So, who's he mad at? His colleague at Fox News, Megyn Kelly. In Megyn's new book, which is out today, she writes about being sexually harassed by disgraced Fox News honcho Roger Ailes.
He said he knew I must have some very sexy bras, and he'd like to see me in them.
Ailes denies that he harassed Megyn Kelly. O'Reilly says it's time to put the scandal to rest.
I'm not interested in basically litigating something that is finished that makes my network look bad, okay? I'm not interested in making my network look bad at all. That doesn't interest me one bit.
Just look at CBS co-anchor Norah O'Donnell. She's so stunned by O'Reilly's outburst, she's fanning herself.
Nora and I have...
Are you okay? On GMA today, George Stephanopoulos asked Megyn about reports that she was negotiating a new $20 million contract. She reportedly wants a salary equal to O'Reilly's.
Can you stay at Fox after all this?
Oh, sure. I mean, I can easily stay at Fox. I can go, hopefully, anywhere I want.
Do you want to stay?
Well, I'm figuring that out, right? I mean, it's not really appropriate to discuss here with you, George. I'm on Good Morning America. But I'm figuring that out.
O'Reilly was still fuming about Kelly's book on his show last night.
So here's the deal. If somebody is paying you a wage, you owe that person or company allegiance. If you don't like what's happening in the workplace, go to Human Resources or leave. I've done that. Factor tip of the day. Loyalty is good.
Megyn Kelly defended her book today on CBS This Morning.
So you don't believe you're making the company look bad, as Bill O'Reilly alleged?
I believe that Roger Ailes made the company look bad.
When Roger Ailes was ousted in July, there was a lot of talk about what the culture was there. And now, with Bill O'Reilly having been fired, it feels as though, if I take the Murdochs at their word, they really want to know what was wrong there and what the culture was like. And I don't know how you get that from silence. So it feels like this might be the right time to just have this conversation and let some daylight in.
And you said on the air, Bill O'Reilly never harassed you. But you didn't say that about Roger Ailes. Did Roger Ailes ever sexually harass you?
Yes. Roger Ailes did sexually harass me.
The Justice Department was investigating Fox News at the time for sexual assault, sexual harassment. That sounds like a little bit of a cover-up to me. And if I were at the Justice Department, I'd be looking.
Take a look. Take a look.
Today, President Trump made sure that there were no questions about Bill O'Reilly at his press conference. He did that by giving the first question to...
Take a few questions. John Roberts of Fox, please.
So we are still waiting for the admitted sexual harasser and sexual assaulter, who is the President of the United States, to comment on his best friend, no longer in the news media, Bill O'Reilly, who even the protective Rupert Murdoch and Fox News finally found indefensible.
Take a look.
Yesterday, Rupert Murdoch and his sons and his company gave up in their 13th year of publicly defending Bill O'Reilly against accusations of sexual harassment.
Take a look.
It has been an expensive run for O'Reilly and for Fox News. The New York Times reports tonight that payouts related to sexual harassment allegations at Fox News now total more than $85 million. The vast majority of that, up to $65 million in exit packages, is being paid to the men who were ousted from the network because of the harassment allegations.
Take a look.
Former Fox News chairman Roger Ailes got a $40 million gift as he was ushered out the door last year after being exposed for his constant, relentless sexual harassment at Fox News with several women, including episodes that were far, far worse than sexual harassment.
Take a look.
Bill O'Reilly picked up $25 million today on his way out the door, according to the New York Times. That was the agreed-upon amount in Bill O'Reilly's new contract. If he were to get fired, the contract provided that he would get 1 year's salary, which for him is $25 million.
Take a look.
It has come to this because women persisted. Starting with Andrea Macris in 2004, she obtained a $9 million settlement against Bill O'Reilly for sexual harassment. Also complaining about Bill O'Reilly's sexual harassment over the years were Rachel Whitley Bernstein, Rebecca Gomez Diamond, Lori Dew, Juliet Huddy, and Andrea Tantaros. And then there was Wendy Walsh, who was able to fully tell her story in the front page New York Times investigative piece 19 days ago that began the new wave of O'Reilly accusers and what turned out to be the final chapter of Bill O'Reilly's life as a sexual harasser at Fox News.
Take a look.
Wendy Walsh was not legally prevented from speaking about her experience, as are the women who have obtained those financial settlements from O'Reilly. All of those settlements include a provision that makes it legally impossible for the women to speak.
Take a look.
Of the at least $85 million that Fox News has paid out in sexual harassment costs, not one penny of that has gone to any of the three women who are joining us tonight who had the misfortune of encountering Bill O'Reilly at Fox News.
Take a look.
24 women accused Bill Cosby of raping or assaulting them over the past 40 years. So joining me now, two of those women. Barbara Bowman alleges she was raped by Bill Cosby when she was a teenage actress, and Joan Tarshis accuses Cosby of raping her when she was 19. You know, how are you handling this? You know, the 7 prescriptions, Joan, of Quaaludes. How are you handling this?
I'm handling it by being shocked that he admitted the truth. Finally. I mean, he lies, you know, constantly. And the fact that he was forced into being honest and that it was released. That's the shocking part. I was so surprised, and I want to just congratulate the judge who agreed to let the world in on this.
Did you ever think in a million years that you would be sitting here on national television talking about this, on international television?
No, never. Never. Not that, that Bill Cosby admitted to getting 7 prescriptions of Quaaludes that he was giving to women to have sex with them.
Yeah.
Take a look. Take a look.
But I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people. Thank you.
Take a look.
Good evening. This afternoon in this room, from this chair, I testified before the Office of Independent Counsel and the grand jury.
Take a look.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Ms. Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part for which I am solely and completely responsible.
Take a look.
It's nobody's business but ours. Even presidents have private lives.
Take a look. Take a look.
The shockwaves continue in the wake of the Harvey Weinstein sex scandal. Two of Hollywood's biggest stars, Matt Damon and George Clooney, have weighed in on Good Morning America. Take a look.
You had to spend about 5 minutes with him to know that he was a bully, he was intimidating. That was his legend. That was his whole kind of MO. So when people say, like, everybody knew, like, yeah, I knew he was, you know? I mean, he was proud of that.
Harvey would talk to me about women that he'd had affairs with. I didn't necessarily believe them, quite honestly, because to believe them would be to believe kind of the worst of some actresses who were friends of mine. But the idea that this predator, this assaulter, was out there silencing women like that, it's beyond infuriating.
Take a look.
Embattled movie mogul Harvey Weinstein can be heard in a just-released surveillance tape recording pleading with a beautiful 22-year-old Italian model to watch him take a shower.
I'm telling you right now.
What do we have to do here?
Nothing. I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink.
The model told police that she was invited to a meeting with Weinstein at his office here at the Tribeca Film Center in Lower Manhattan. She says he touched her inappropriately and put his hand under her skirt. When she went to police, the NYPD Special Victims Unit secretly wired her for a follow-up meeting with Weinstein at a hotel just a few blocks away.
Take a look.
You must come here now.
No.
Please.
No, I don't want to.
I'm not doing anything with you. I promise.
You can hear Weinstein in the recording.
5 minutes. Don't ruin your friendship with me for 5 minutes.
I know, but it's kind of like, it's too much for me. I can't. Weinstein was never charged. Weinstein was never charged. Weinstein was never charged.
Take a look.
The audio is part of a just-released bombshell article in the New Yorker magazine alleging that Weinstein raped 3 women, including actress Asia Argento, best known for her 2000 movie with Vin Diesel, XXX. I know he has crushed a lot of people before. That's why this story, in my case it's 20 years old, some of them are older, has never come out.
Take a look.
Another actress, Mira Sorvino, told The New Yorker that she had a creepy encounter with Weinstein in a hotel room in Toronto in 1995, the year she won the Best Supporting Oscar for Mighty Aphrodite. He started massaging my shoulders, which made me very uncomfortable, and then tried to get more physical, sort of chasing me around.
Take a look.
From wildfires in California to continuing problems in Puerto Rico to more horrifying details concerning Harvey Weinstein. And it's not just his behavior that was troubling. It's the way that people around him excused it. It's the way that people around him excused it. It's the way that people around him excused it.
She says while she was sleeping on a boat at the Cannes Film Festival, Weinstein broke into her room and masturbated in front of her.
I told people on the boat, I told people at the dinner I was at, and everybody was like, oh, that's just Harvey.
What the fuck? And while most now have condemned Weinstein's behavior, incredibly, some initially tried to defend him. From Oliver Stone, whose first response was, it's not easy what he's going through, to longtime friend Donna Karan, who took an incredible tack.
Take a look.
How do we display ourselves? How do we present ourselves as women? What are we asking? Are we asking for it?
What the fuck? What the fuck?
It's not Harvey Weinstein. You look at everything all over the world today, you know, and how women are dressing and, you know, what they're asking by just presenting themselves the way they do.
What the fuck? It's the way that people around him excused it. It's the way that people around him excused it. It's the way that people around him excused it.
Take a look.
An investigation has been launched after an actress has told LAPD that she was raped by Harvey Weinstein.
And now, a new metric. At least 35 women accusing Weinstein of sexual misconduct.
Harvey Weinstein is one of the most influential and powerful studio chiefs of recent vintage in Hollywood, who turned out to be the worst sleazebag we could possibly have imagined. And he apparently is reaping his just desserts.
Yesterday, the Motion Picture Academy made a big announcement.
The Board of Governors voting overwhelmingly to immediately expel the once powerful and feared producer, saying the era of willful ignorance and shameful complicity in sexually predatory behavior and workplace harassment in our industry is over.
Yes, finally.
Take a look.
The growing scandal is already leading to fallout for the TV series Project Runway, which just announced that it is erasing Harvey Weinstein's name as executive producer.
Take a look.
He spoke about acts that he had seen in pornographic films involving such matters as women having sex with animals and films showing group sex or rape scenes. He talked about pornographic materials depicting individuals with large penises or large breasts involved in various sex acts. On several occasions, Thomas told me graphically of his own sexual prowess.
Committee will please come to order. Judge, it's a tough day and tough night for you, I know. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Senator, I would like to start by saying unequivocally, uncategorically, that I deny each and every single allegation against me today that suggested in any way that I had conversations of a sexual nature or about pornographic material with Anita Hill, that I ever attempted to date her, that I ever had any personal sexual interest in her, or that I in any way ever harassed her.
Take a look.
This entire proceeding is ended.
With that gavel, Chairman Joseph Biden ended 3 of the most remarkable days in the history of the Congress. Senators investigating allegations of unwanted sexual advances by a Supreme Court nominee had waded out into uncharted and often seamy waters, hoping to arrive at the truth. But when the hearings ended at 2 o'clock this morning, 33 hours and 22 witnesses after they began, the Senate was right back where it started, having to weigh his word against hers.
Take a look.
Anita Hill, a University of Oklahoma law professor, worked for Clarence Thomas during the early 1980s at the Department of Education and at the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. She appeared before the Senate Judiciary Committee to tell her story.
His conversations were very vivid. He spoke about acts that he had seen in pornographic films involving such matters as women having sex with animals and films showing group sex or rape scenes. He talked about pornographic materials depicting individuals with large penises or large breasts involved in various sex acts. On several occasions, Thomas told me graphically of his own sexual prowess. Because I was extremely uncomfortable talking about sex with him at all, and particularly in such a graphic way, I told him that I did not want to talk about these subjects.
Judge Clarence Thomas had appeared to be within days of confirmation to the Supreme Court when the Anita Hill story broke. Now he was forced to return to the Judiciary Committee to defend himself, and did so with a blistering attack against his accuser, his opponents, and against the committee itself.
I would like to start by saying unequivocally, uncategorically, that I deny each and every single allegation against me today.
Take a look.
A second, and I think more important point, I think that this today is a travesty. It's a national disgrace. And from my standpoint, as a black American, as far as I'm concerned, it is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves, to do for themselves, to have different ideas. And it is a message that unless you kowtow to an old order, this is what will happen to you. You will be lynched, destroyed, caricatured by a committee of the U.S. Senate rather than hung from a tree.
Thomas continued to lash out throughout his testimony. When he concluded Saturday evening, committee chairman Joseph Biden lashed back.
Take a look.
I'm getting fed up with this stuff about how terrible this system is.
Take a look. Take a look.
I moved on her like a bitch. Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob. She talks like a truck driver. If I were running The View, I'd fire Rosie. I mean, I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired.
Take a look.
He had an absolute meltdown. When I said that I needed the break, and it was for breast pumping purposes, he got up, his face got red, he shook his finger at me, and he screamed, "You're disgusting, you're disgusting," and he ran out of there.
I moved on her like a bitch.
Take a look.
And now they're making Ghostbusters with only women. What's going on?
The Miss Universe pageant is amazing because you have 97 countries and no matter what you're looking for,
But what is your
you have it.
involvement? Yes. You own this pageant, you go over, you're meeting the girls and stuff. One of them comes up to you and says, Mr. Trump, you're a very sexy man.
You're a beautiful man. You have fantastic hair.
Well, you're a powerful man. Right? Right? You're a powerful man.
Right.
I want to sleep with you. And
What you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now, tell
Take a look.
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like
everything
a doctor.
is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Take a look.
Brandy came in here, she got down on her knees and said, I passionately want to do this. I, at this point, am the team chooser, not the team leader yet.
Excuse me, you dropped to your knees.
Yes. And begged to do this. And I said, I'm looking around the room, and we had even LaToya, who sitting beside me, thought maybe Brandy was right.
Must be a pretty picture you
Little
dropping to
John
your
and
knees.
Dennis thought I should be. Omarosa said me. Some other people said you. And in the end of it, I said, everyone looked at you and said,
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't. Your Twitter account...
Thank you.
For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure.
Take a look.
Well, I just don't respect her as a journalist. I have no respect for her. I don't think she's very good. And she starts asking me all sorts of ridiculous questions. And, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
I moved on her like a bitch.
A person who's flat-chested is very hard to be a 10, okay?
Pregnancy is never, it's a wonderful thing for the woman. It's a wonderful thing for the husband. It's certainly an inconvenience for a business. And whether people want to say that or not, the fact is it is an inconvenience for a person that is running a business.
Take a look.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
If you become president, will a woman make the same as a man? And do I get to choose what I do with my body?
You're going to make the same if you do as good a job. You're going to make the same if you do as good a job.
Putting a wife to work is a very dangerous thing.
The woman from Russia that won, who we fired, I thought was terrible.
She weighed 118 pounds or 117 pounds, and she went up to 160 or 70. So this is somebody that likes to eat.
Well, obviously, it's great outer beauty. I mean, we could say politically correct that the look doesn't matter, but the look obviously matters. Like you wouldn't have your job if you weren't beautiful.
They said, how are you going to change the pageant? And I said, I'm going to get the bathing suits to be smaller and the heels to be higher.
Take a look. Take a look.
And she used to be great. She's still very beautiful. I moved on her, actually. You know, she was down in Palm Beach. I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and fuck her. She was married.
That's huge news there.
No, Nancy. Yeah. No, this was marriages. And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch. But I couldn't get there. And she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
She's your girl's hot as shit. In the purple.
Whoa!
Yes!
Whoa!
Yes, the Donald has scored!
Whoa!
Oh, my man! Wait, you gotta look at me when you get out of your set this up.
Hello, how are you? Hi.
Trump, how
nice
are
seeing you. Terrific.
Pleasure to meet you.
Terrific. You know Billy Bush?
How are you?
Nice to see you. How you doing, Ariane?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Are you ready to be a soap star?
We're ready. Let's go. Make me a soap star.
How about a little hug for the Donald? You just got off the bus.
Would you like a little hug,
Okay,
darling?
absolutely. I moved on her like a bitch. Melania
little
said
hug
this
for the
was
bushy.
okay.
I just got off the bus.
Oh, bushy.
There we go.
I moved on her like a bitch.
There you go. Excellent. Well, you've got a nice co-star here.
Good.
Yes, absolutely.
After you. Come on, Billy. Don't be shy.
As soon as a beautiful woman shows up,
I moved on her like a bitch.
Get
over here, Billy.
I'm sorry, come here.
Let the little guy in there. Come
Yeah,
on.
let the little guy in. How you feel now, better? I should actually.
It's hard to walk next to a guy like
Here, wait,
this.
hold on.
Yeah, you get in the middle. There we go.
Good. That's
This
better.
is much better. This is.
That's better.
Now, if you had to choose, honestly, between one of us, me or the Donald, who
I
would
don't
it
know.
be?
That's tough
some pressure right
competition.
there.
Yeah.
Seriously, you had to take one of us as a date.
You have to take a fifth on that one.
Really?
Yep. I'll take both.
Which way?
Make it right. Here we go. Right in the days.
Here he goes. I'm going to leave you here.
Okay.
Get my microphone.
Okay. You're gonna. Oh, you're finished. Oh, you're finished. Oh, you're finished. Oh, you're finished. Oh, you're finished.
You're my man. Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm going to go do our show.
Oh, you want to reset? Okay.
I moved on her like a bitch.
After a brief discussion of work, he would turn the conversation to a discussion of sexual matters. His conversations were very vivid. He spoke about acts that he had seen in pornographic films involving such matters as women having sex with animals and films showing group sex or rape scenes. He talked about pornographic materials depicting individuals with large penises or large breasts involved in various sex acts. On several occasions, Thomas told me graphically of his own sexual prowess. Because I was extremely uncomfortable talking about sex with him at all, and particularly in such a graphic way, I told him that I did not want to talk about these subjects.
24 women accused Bill Cosby of raping or assaulting them over the past 40 years. So joining me now, 2 of those women. Barbara Bowman alleges she was raped by Bill Cosby when she was a teenage actress, and Joan Tarshish accuses Cosby of raping her when she was 19. Thank you, ladies. Wish we're talking under better circumstances. You know, how are you handling this?
I never lost hope. I had dark days, and it's been a long, hard, frustrating journey. But I knew some way, someday, something would break, and the truth would come out. You know, the thing is that it's remarkable what he masterminded. It was decades of deceit and manipulation, and not just with his victims, but with the people around him and the people that surrounded him to protect him, and all of the minds that he manipulated.
What do you think? You've been called a liar over all these years. What do you think of comments like that?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, You know, when you have accepted and grown up with an icon, with something in your life that is so effective in your life, that is really the fabric of your existence and your morality and the way you look at life, when something comes crashing down on you like that, it's very, very difficult to change your paradigm, and it's very difficult to accept that you have to shift your thinking. And it's you're mourning the death of a part of your own life. And there's a lot of elements to that. There's a lot of denial, there's fear, and it's shattering the illusion. You know, we're dealing with a man that has built his life on his iconacy and has had a very strong circle of protection. And within that protection, he's also not a stupid man and understood how to deflect attention away from the facts.
My tears form crystalline shields around me. You shower at me and his love surrounds me. I beg, I plead, oh, you shower is my shield. My tears form crystalline shields around me. You shower at me and his love surrounds me. I beg, I plead, oh, you shower is my shield.
Take a look.
Let me explain a few things to you viewers. Now, this information I'm providing you may be difficult for certain human beings to comprehend, but God is a woman. God is a goddess. Listen, you're living on a planet that's ruled by satanic alien beings who are in collusion with satanic human beings. They worship Satan and as well as other demonic entities. They know that God is a goddess, possessing the female gender. Therefore, the female gender suffers on this planet because it symbolizes the pain and punishment that those satanic alien beings and satanic human beings wish to inflict on God or the goddess, Mother Creator. But because they can't harm her, they pick on the much more weaker female gender from the human species. And that's because females are created in the image of a goddess. And Satan hates God. And if you don't believe me, check it out. Here is an image of Jesus that you may be familiar with, but what you may not know is that you are viewing a symbol of suffering and dying on the cross. Now, if you love Jesus, if you loved a deceased family member, a friend, or a spouse, you would never want to see images of them suffering and dying. You would never want to see images of them being crucified. You would never hang those images on the walls of your home or office. But the secret societies who are guided by those satanic alien beings provide you with the image of a straight, white, religious male as your savior. His father wouldn't save him, and he couldn't save himself from crucifixion. But they want you to believe that he will save you and save the world. The truth is, Jesus is real, but his name isn't Jesus, and he was never sacrificed or crucified on a cross. Positive energy always defeats negative energy. That was true 2,000 years ago and still true today. Besides, Mother Goddess creates life. She would never sacrifice or allow the sacrifice of her only child. As a matter of fact, no parent in their natural state of mind would allow their child to be sacrificed. The satanic alien beings, the satanic human beings and their secret societies want to think that Jesus suffered and died on a cross, and that's what they want you to believe. So they tell you lies. You hear and believe the lies. Your eyes have viewed multiple images of the lie, and eventually you begin repeating those lies. But even that won't make their lies become reality. They hate Mother Creator, the goddess, so much that in some countries they literally rip out the clitoris from between the legs of all human beings of the female gender. Like I previously stated, the satanic rulers on this planet want the female gender to suffer horribly, to be discriminated against, to be the servants of the male gender, to be denied equal pay, to have male legislators debate and decide their reproductive health issues, and to be seen and treated around the world as the weaker, inferior gender on this planet, Earth. As I previously stated, Jesus is real, and the real Jesus didn't perform any miracles either. They tell you that Jesus was employed, they gave him some family members, and sold the world a deceptive story. They want you to focus on the man, a human being that you can relate to and empathize with. And as long as you're mesmerized and discussing the human Jesus, you and others won't focus too much on his message. They want you focusing on the man and the miracles and his father. Both men, with very little talk about a mother. A father and his son without a mother. That's secret code for pedophilia. Just like a priest, no wife, just a boy. Maybe an altar boy. Those satanic secret societies have members who are homosexuals and pedophiles. When y'all say amen, that's one man, amen. In church, they used to say all men. That means all men, homosexuality. And you can clearly see how much the female gender is involved in priesthood. But females can become nuns, but they must be segregated. And a lot of those nuns also become gay while living among other women. And I'll tell you another little secret. The satanic alien beings who the secret societies pray to are promoting the homosexual agenda among human beings because they don't want you earth beings to breed too fast. They can barely control you all now. Mainly because a lot of people are starting to wake up. Wake up! Listen, you human beings that live on the surface of planet Earth are living on a backward planet. You're living in a perverted society created to put in reverse the universal, galactic, or cosmic laws of the universe that the three gods have established. Human beings on planet Earth are being taught the total opposite of the universal truth in order to deceive the human population into violating universal laws. So now, when the human dies and the soul separates from the flesh, that soul is rejected and prevented from moving forward to a higher dimension. Those souls are reincarnated back to a third dimension in order to obtain the tools necessary for moving forward to a higher dimension. A human soul cannot move forward into a higher dimension without possessing the three most powerful tools in the universe. And those tools are love, compassion, and positive energy. Women have a very hard time on this planet for a very important reason. Women are being punished as a symbol for punishing God. Every time a woman is being punished or mistreated, the negative alien beings on earth symbolizes the suffering of a woman as the suffering of God. See, you're living on a satanic planet. Mostly everything on earth that you learn is in reverse. Earth is a backward planet. For example, they teach you that God is a man and his son Jesus is some handsome white man with a mustache and beard like Santa Claus. But white Jesus is a lie like Santa Claus. And more importantly, the image of God as a male is a lie as well, like Santa Claus. Listen, God is a woman, a goddess, mother creator. I know that for a fact because in 2012, I was called up to heaven for a brief time and I was shown the truth and lies that are being taught to human beings on planet Earth. I was also shown a few things that will take place in the future. For example, I was shown the disaster that is now referred to as Superstorm Sandy. I made YouTube videos warning the viewers and informing them to stack up on canned foods, plenty of water, batteries, flashlights, etc. But most people choose not to believe me. It ain't matter to me. During those times, Mother Creator would allow me to take pictures and videos of her in her many shapes and forms in the sky. And now, I will share some of those videos with you. I now introduce you to Mother Creator.
Take a look.
Don't know what it's doing. Yes, sir. Peoples are slipping. Spacecraft. That's the moon. Clouds are over the moon right now. In the middle. It's over it right now, most of it. It's covering most of the moon. You shouldn't be able to see it. I can only see 20%. Half the moon is gone. No, it doesn't look like that with the camera. It's still bright with the camera, but not with my eyes.
Take a look.
These are images of Mother Creator and me on the top of a mountain. She is the bright light that resembles the sun. Now, when I took these video images, I never saw Mother Creator's presence. I just wanted to film the very top of the mountain. But upon review of the footage of myself in the mountaintop, I can clearly see how Mother Creator made her energy visible to the camera, knowing I would view the footage later and appreciate more the time we spent on top of the mountain.
Excellent choice. This is Whichever way the wind blows, whichever the way the wind blows, it tells me to go, and it'll hold back the wind if it's overpowering, overpowering, overpowering. Whichever way the wind blows, whichever the way the wind blows, it tells me to go, and it'll hold back the wind if it's overpowering, overpowering, I'll go wherever higher takes me, and I don't care about Satan seeds, they can all hate me. And I stand up in a lucky shy inauguration. He's patiently waiting, and he's gonna take out Satan. My father higher ain't the one to play. Do you hear what I'm saying? The God of all creation, Shia went through transfiguration. Now higher created the nations. So I say, stand up for a higher, hold back the wind. So I say, stand up for your Shia, hold back the wind. Whichever way the wind blows, whichever the way the wind blows, it tells me to go, and it'll hold back the wind if it's overpowering, overpowering, overpowering. Whichever way the wind blows, whichever the way the wind blows, it tells me to go, and it'll hold back the wind if it's overpowering, overpowering, I'll go wherever higher takes me, and I don't care if Satan hates me. So listen up, all of you children, 'cause a highest gathering all his children, and he says, go into the wilderness, hold back the wind. And he says, go into the wilderness, hold back the wind. So I pray for all of his offspring, the remnant that holds to Aya's commandment.
Take a look.
You possess the power to impact the global narrative. Please share this report, and to get more videos like this, become an X News subscriber by clicking the link below. Thank you for watching.
Mother Creator Production. One hybrid human. Yes, sir.